Well, welcome to this episode. Mope and Mike's Garage. You can see we're back in the garage again, not out in the shed. We're completing the last of the Boss Plow budget build here, getting the four-wheel drive to work. So we got ourselves a Posilock kit because the axle disconnect, the vacuum portion is rotted through. The housing itself is in really rough shape, and the vacuum lines the previous owner cobbled together with brake lines. For 55 bucks, I'm gonna throw the Posilock in it and try that just as long as I can get the bolts out of the diff. So I lubed them up a couple times now throughout the day. Give them the old tap, and then I use my 1/4-inch ratchet here just so that I didn't have anything that would risk putting too much torque on the bolts to get them loose, because I think the aluminum housing is corroded to the bolt pretty well. So they didn't seem to want to move, which is less than encouraging. But we got the smoke wrench under there, so we're gonna see if we can do something here that doesn't involve burning down the garage, but we're gonna get a little heat on it and see if we can get her out. So that's what we're working on today. All right, here's our situation. We got a rotted out vacuum diaphragm. Then we got a crusty housing here. Really crusty down there. So I gave these the old tap. I'm gonna put a little heat to them and see if we can get them to back out in one piece. Would be ideal. And then we got to get these top two out, and we'll be able to start assembling the Posilock and get that in. So that's what we're gonna do. Well, we got it out. Unfortunately, the aluminum was corroded in pretty bad on that one. I had to actually hammer it until the aluminum housing came apart to release from the bolt. So this one I held the torch on until it burned the aluminum housing out. But this thing was plenty of dirty old gear lube in there, that's for sure. But yeah, here you can kind of see what our housing looked like. Not ideal by any means. So yeah, well, what are you gonna do? So we're gonna heat the ever living daylights out of this thing again, and I got a vice grips here, and we're gonna see if we can clamp on and turn that baby out, because that'd be really cool if it worked like that. Well, update, we got her out, and I just had to clip the vice grips on it, and it came right off. So that's cool. I'll take that, without a doubt. So yeah, we got her out. I got the gasket off, so that was good. Now I just gotta start assembling the Posilock here, and we'll see what we can do to get that on. So we got some fun facts here for you guys. So this is it. This is the kit. So basically, the Posilock, for those that don't know, is just a PTO cable that sort of the vacuum actuator to slide the fork in the housing that locks the collar between the two splines. Right now there's a vacuum plunger that then pushes it over. Well, instead of this, it's you in the cab pulling the cable to get it locked in. So one of the important things that you need here with that is, so here on this end there's a bracket that mounts it to the dash, so you have a rigid mount. Looks like that. Well, guess what our kit didn't come with? That. But on the bright side, I was sitting there thinking, man, I had one of these on the Bighorn because my vacuum actuator failed. So I put one on, and I was like, it's still attached to the cab. Now keep in mind that's a Dana 44. I believe this is a Dana 60. And I couldn't find anywhere on the internet that these were interchangeable. Absolutely nowhere. They have a first gen one and a second gen one, and that is it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. They're different part numbers. The website doesn't list enough to be really super specific about it. So I grabbed the one out of my first gen because I needed the damn little bracket, which in order to get the bracket out, because you have to put the bracket on over through the whole coil and then drill your hole through your cab and feed everything through. So the bracket is like step number one other than getting the old shit off. So I had to do that to get this little bracket right here. I had to take it out of the other truck cab sitting in the shed. And so then I started looking at it and I was like, man, that housing looks familiar. So this housing. And I was like, that looks familiar. Now the casting numbers are different, but they line up. So it might just be more of a date thing, but I can't spot a difference. Now, the only thing is maybe is if the fork is different. That's a possibility. But otherwise, everything else is the damn same. So, if everything's the same and I can assemble using the old stuff, I'm just going to send this one back because, well, piss me off. They didn't send me all the parts anyway. So, yeah. So, fun fact. First gen, second gen, Dana 60. Kind of appears that they all use the same parts.
Sorry, Hans, wrong guess.
Oh, hell I lied. I got all excited. I was going to tell them to pound sand, but the castings are a little different. So inside this gap here and that gap there is bigger on the Dana 61, so there must be just a skosh more wiggle room needed. And I mean, I don't know if this casting's actually different or if that's just a more modern revision, because the other thing that I noticed is, let's see, this guy here on this end is a touch shorter. It's machined flush. So I don't know if that was something that they were having issues with, or if that's just the fact of the matter that is slightly different. So all right, well, I got a little excited, kind of hoping, me, save a buck because I'm cheap. But otherwise, everything else looks, I'm gonna unwrap the cable and I guess see if they're the same length, and then I'll just use that cable. But otherwise, yeah, boy, very similar, that's for sure. So we got the old housing apart here. It didn't come without a fight.
But yeah, she's a little worse for wear, to say the least. So we're working on getting the new one here. I really had it the other night trying to get the cable through the cab. That turned into just be a nightmare after salvaging parts off the other cab and whatnot, and it just was not going in my favor. So I tapped out, and then I got a sinus infection and kind of stayed out of the garage here through the holiday. So but we're back at it because we've got a snowstorm coming here in a day or two, so we really need to get this fixed. But basically had disassembled all to get the fork that actually slides the collar in and out, and so I got that apart. So now I'm in the process of reassembling, and we'll go under there next and look at it. So we got our little wing dinger in here with the E-clips. So now it's a matter of adjusting it to make sure that it's in right so that it engages and disengages like it should. And so for those that don't know, the whole purpose of this is that this is going to move this collar here, which then will hopefully slide over both of these once they're aligned, and then bam, we'll be locked in. We'll have 4-wheel drive. So that's the idea behind it, at least. So we gotta go open the cab, disengage, and make sure that this clip stops against the housing, because then that's fully disengaged and good to go. And then it's a matter of tightening this nut down here so that we're locked in and good to roll. What the fuck? So, what have we been doing for the last half hour or however long it feels like it's been? So if you look here, and I bet you can tell me what's wrong with this hole. It should be centered. It's not centered. It's off. You know what that does? That makes this little dongle deal here bind up, but not when you've got the fork on and just sitting in there. No, it's fine until you put that guy on to adapt the switch for the 4-wheel drive light. Then it gets caught right there. So what do we do about it? Because, well, it's gonna snow before we can get another one of these shit-ass kits from Amazon. And our housing is too far gone to just try to get a new actuator, and the vacuum lines are jacked up and everything else to try to get some parts from O'Reilly's here tomorrow. So Mike's Machine Shop and other related tendencies, we were able to hog this out with a drill bit to give us some clearance there. And clean it up. And then we took this guy, because it was still binding up, and we hogged this guy out a little bit with a drill bit. It ain't perfect, but you know what? I just did a test run without the fork in there, and it moves. So, you know, this whole project pissed me off from, you know, every step of the way. But now I'm mad, and it's gonna get done just to say I got it done. So I can't wait to leave Posilock a review, because 0 stars for this fucking quality disaster. So yeah, that's where we're at. That's how it's going. So we're gonna put the fork back in for the second time now, and try to adjust it and make sure we got everything right. And then, you know what? Maybe here we'll get her done. All right, well, we got her. It's all installed. We got the breather hose on. I had to cut the factory plug off to put the little ends on. It's adjusted, it's bolted. We put the shield on just because this ain't no amateur hour show here. Used the factory clamp for the wiring. So we should be in good shape here, I think. We're gonna clean up our tools, and maybe we'll go for a little test drive and see what she does. Well, there it is, folks. Right there. We got 4-wheel drive. We got a snowplow. We are in good shape for the shape we're in. So, yeah, I put it in drive and started rolling out the garage real slow, and I grabbed the PTO cable and she slid. I could feel it slide right in. The light came on, so I pulled the transfer case into 4, and we were on the money. So, yeah, I think for now that one is definitely taken care of. So we're ready for the snowstorm in a day or two here, where we'll actually really be able to put her through her paces. So I don't know about you, but I'm kind of excited. We haven't had 4-wheel drive in about a year, so maybe a touch longer. So yeah, we're ready to rock. With that, I think I'm gonna call this one. You know, the install of this was absolutely miserable. It would have been much less miserable if all the parts would have been in the kit from Posilock, and if the parts that were in the kit were correctly machined. So, you know, that really would have solved a few of our issues here. But you know, I guess the concept of it is really great. It's really simple. You know, should be pretty straightforward. In this case, it was much more of a pain in the ass than it needed to be, but that's the way she goes sometimes. So we're just gonna go back in and get cleaned up here and shut her down for the night. So until next time, folks, smoke them if you got them.